Hey there, Kicksters. Welcome to Thursday morning. No, it's a Tuesday. Can't believe everything's just getting away from me when I think about what is going on and trying to work out what day of the week it is. All I can tell you is it's not far away from Christmas. And we're already counting down the days to when we're going to be actually getting ready to close down. In fact, if you go to the Excite Media website and have a little bit of a look, you're going to find out all about our close down. I'll tell you about that very shortly. But first of all, welcoming to the show, somebody who makes a big impression at Excite Media is Mike Green. Mikey, welcome to the Morning Kick. How you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me this morning.
You're missing something. Normally, I would expect to see Mike Green wearing a lei. Tell us why you would have a wonderful little lei with a little hula going. There's obviously a little bit of background to that story.
Well, especially this time of year when we're trying to get every site up before Christmas. It's tradition to put on the launch lei. Not sure exactly when it started, but that's actually last year I was in Hawaii for my birthday and I sent about 20 leis to the office so that everyone could pretend to be in Hawaii with me. And I think, Scott, our technical director, decided that there was the rule to wear one whenever you're launching a website, so people get a bit festive, I guess, a bit excited.
It's amazing. It is a busy time of year. I mean, we normally, like many businesses, get their clients ringing saying, I need this by Christmas. And they're phoning their clients saying, you can't do it by Christmas. But all of us are trying to squeeze so much in. How many websites are we talking about launching over the last couple of weeks? I heard it was more than a dozen. Is that right?
Definitely more than a dozen. I think there was 15 or 16, maybe still probably 8 or 9 in the last 2 weeks where it works. So yeah, it could be pretty exciting times for a lot of clients, hopefully.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have a talk to Mike about what goes on behind the scenes at Excite Media, because we are very privileged to have a support team. And a lot of small agencies, they may have people that do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but we've got Mikey, we've got Nick, we've got Scott, one of our founders, who actually can kind of pitch in and take care of a lot of your technical needs when it comes to building a website. Today, we're going to find out what Mikey does to keep these websites running and actually talk to you about the importance of having a support plan. You may think just chuck a website up and hope for the best. Not a good way to run a business. So, Mikey, why don't we start about the nature of your role? Tell me what you actually do at Excite Media.
Sure. So definitely a core portion of it is looking after our EXCITECARE service, which is basically your peace of mind for your website. It's not going to get hacked. It's not going to get broken into. There's always a backup around the corner. We're checking that, make sure it's online. That's definitely a key role. Obviously, we just talked about launching all the websites. That's something that's heavily favored right now. But really just making sure that our clients' websites are up and running. If there's problems, we can get them back online.
Yeah, I guess when we talk about websites, a lot of people don't realize it's actually software. And if you had Microsoft Word on your website, you'd want it updated whenever Microsoft put out something. Websites need that kind of attention, don't they? What goes into actually look after those updates?
Absolutely. I mean, there's and this is we develop on a WordPress, which has a lot of third-party developers that provide plugins, and most of them are great, but doesn't mean that they're 100% secure. So when you think about your computer having 30 possible software platforms on it, including all the Office suite, eventually they're going to get people hacked into them, because you can't have perfect software, and it's never going to be that way. And we're always going to have people trying to get into different software. So we take your website, we make sure it's up to date. We'll do basically checks across the site, both the front end and the back end, to make sure that nothing's broken from the updates, because obviously 30 different pieces of 30 different developers working on 30 different pieces of code. You've got to make sure it's all playing well together, which it often doesn't. So we always take one of those nifty backups pre-update, and if anything goes wrong, we can always roll back.
One of the things I like is that we take a pretty manual approach here. We're actually monitoring what's going on. And you mentioned that thing rollback. Can you describe what a rollback is?
Sure. So it's basically a perfect save state of where your website is before we go and update it. So we'll take that first initial backup, have a look at the website, how it's functioning, should be working fine at that point in time. Push out all the content, the plugin updates and updates to WordPress core. Then we check the website again, front end and back end. And if anything does go wrong, if something's completely broken and we can't fix it, we can just take it back to that save state where everything was working, the pre-updates.
That's absolutely brilliant. Now, Excite Media actually has the support program, and it's called the EXCITECARE. Now, if we go into the website, one place that you can go is to this address, and there you'll find all the information about our EXCITECARE programs. And this is what Mikey's taking charge of and actually monitoring. Mikey, how many people are actually on the EXCITECARE or one of these programs?
Yeah, we've got over 300 clients on our EXCITECARE service at the moment.
That's incredible. When you look at the amount of people that we're supporting, and as you say, you're looking granularly at all of those different websites, checking up whether they need backups, whether the software needs to be updated. I had this given to me, which I thought was pretty apt. So Mikey, the hero from Hackers, that's probably one of the prime reasons, isn't it? The nature of the web, there can be stuff happen, whether it's an automated attack of your website or an intentional one. You could find that your business has gone offline.
Absolutely. I mean, WordPress in particular, while it's a great system, it is one of the most targeted. I think it's something like 31% of websites are on WordPress, but they're 70% of the ones that get exploited due to vulnerabilities. And that is just the nature of the system, because you have so many developers. It's not so much the core WordPress version, it is really the extensions that people use to build out WordPress that get targeted. And it generally is, automated attacks. And I think it's really hard to pin down a number, but somewhere between 30 to 100,000 websites get targeted daily and exploited. So it's a lot going on.
And somebody made a comment to me. They said WordPress itself is actually very secure the way we set it up, but it's because there are so many of them worldwide that it becomes a bit of a target. But the good thing is, as the people are on these plans, very quickly, if anything happens, you can basically restore them and have them up and running very shortly.
Yeah, definitely. As a part of our Security Plus package, we do include the hack guarantee. On the basics, we can definitely roll back to an earlier state, but if you have a website that changes constantly, you really need daily backups. You need it to be able to be cleansed back to at least the same day.
And what are some of the other things we do as part of EXCITECARE? I see things like training videos. Are there other benefits that come into the EXCITECARE program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every day we have uptime monitoring running on your website. So if for any reason, even external to your website, it could be your website host takes down your website, or your DNS fails, or your main registration runs out. Lots of factors go into your website not being online, and we get a ping as soon as it goes down, so we can contact you and let you know that your website's offline, people can't reach you. That's definitely a big factor. Obviously, all the support, if you're not familiar with WordPress, or you are and you just need a question, you can always call us or email us, and we can assist you through that sort of that work as well. Obviously, we list spam protection, which is a huge thing that people deal with every day. Your website forms, they're going to get hit by spammers, and there's a few ways we can actually prevent that. But one of them, which you might have heard of, the Google's reCAPTCHA. They recently went into version 3, which is an invisible reCAPTCHA, so you're no longer clicking that "I'm not a robot" button. It's just a little widget that sits off to the side that protects your website. But because it's so popular, like anything like WordPress, so many people try and get past it. So we've actually recently developed an in-house spam prevention system, which it just plugs straight into your form software, and we adjust the rules to best suit the clients that are contacting you. If you're an Australian business, you probably don't need specific inquiries coming out of Russia or China. So we can just geo-block certain areas, but other ones need more finesse than that. So we do it on a case-by-case basis.
Coming up, we've got Excite Media taking a well-earned break. This thing called COVID takes it out of the best of people. We'll still be able to get hold of people for support over the Christmas break?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we've got that banner up in our website at the moment, which links you through to our contact forms. And if you go down to the support form,
there we go.
There's a link to the support form, and you can put through what's called a critical urgency request in that drop-down menu at the top there. That will actually go straight through to a number of us to our personal email addresses. So just drop down the urgency tab to critical, and yeah, you'll reach us. You'll reach a whole bunch of us actually straight away. So that's the best way to contact us for any urgent stuff. We do generally check some emails over the break. We're not perfect. We can't keep hands off as much as we'd like to sometimes. But yeah, if anything's mission critical, definitely use that form to get through to us.
Mike, let's talk about what goes into actually keeping a website humming along. We've talked about the software, making sure that's up to date, etc. But I'm also hearing that speed is a real key thing. Google seems to be putting a lot of emphasis on it. When you're launching a website, how do you make sure that it's going to be super fast and going to give the customer a great experience?
Well, it really does start from day one. We have been refining our build process to make sure that all the websites are going to be built in a way that is optimizable. So we have that initial build the website up, and then post-launch is when we actually start doing our optimizations, because we find that in the actual live environment, you're going to have accurate results as to what's working, what's not. And there's a whole range of stuff that we can do to speed up the website, from image compression to running on a CDN network, even just configuring caching and all your policies on browser caching, etc. So there's a lot that goes into it. It's not one button that fixes everything, unfortunately.
Now, you used an acronym there that could have been a bank, could have been a union, but what is a CDN? Explain a CDN to us.
Okay, so it stands for Content Delivery Network. It's basically, you're saying, I want users around the world or anywhere to have really quick access to the media on my site. So it might be videos, it might be images across your website, even some script files can be hosted on CDN. So you're saying, I might pay for hosting in Australia, or I might pay for hosting in the US, but that means that whoever around the world has to go get all those files from that location, whereas a CDN is basically a set of networks, servers around the world, and your images are getting duplicated all around the world. And that way, when someone in any country, any city accesses your website, they're getting served up the media from the closest server to them, which gives them a much better response time, and the feel of your website, as well as the metrics that Google's ranking you on, will be a lot better.
So basically, we're shifting almost like a copy of the big files closer to the user. What kind of website is going to benefit from having a CDN?
Yeah, I mean, it generally is something that if you have a dispersed user base, so if you have an international product, it's a really good idea to have something like that, because optimization now, especially the latest kind of changes Google have made, it's all about getting your content as quick as possible to the client. And that can be really hard if they're halfway across the world. So a CDN is going to really help speed things up for you there. Generally, if you need to have your website hosted in a different country, or you prefer, a US host, and your client base is Australian, definitely a CDN network's a must. Bring all your files over to here. So even though the initial request is to the States, it'll tell the user, get all the stuff from Australia, because it's going to be a lot quicker.
Let's talk about hosting for a moment, because you help our clients actually get the hosting set up or liaise with them.
Yep.
We've got a great comment coming in from one of the team. There we go. So it's a really great team environment. And what people don't realize is that we don't have one person build and launch a website. It's a team of people. We've got Matt here that will actually help project manage it. You are following that kind of launch process at the end to make sure that the website is launched well. Everybody playing their part is really good. Coming back to hosting, that is obviously critical. Am I going to get the same results for my website out of that $5 cheap deal on hosting as I am out of, say, a $20 or $30 package?
Look, it's actually one of my absolute pet peeves that people will spend thousands of dollars on a website, and then they will go ahead and get the cheapest hosting package possible. Obviously, it's an ongoing cost, but you really do get what you pay for, whether it be the location, the actual, you could be running on a Pentium 4 in someone's garage and paying $2 a month, but your clients are going to sit there on a white screen waiting for the website to load forever. Whereas, we do often recommend Kinetics, Ipswich-based company, And yeah, they really do have great infrastructure. They've got a range of different plans. If you're really wanting to pay top dollar, they have VPS plans where you have a whole server to yourself for all your websites or your one website, or they just have a basic shared plan, but still really quite a good hosting environment to work in. So definitely one of my favorite things is when I hear that clients have gone to Kinetics.
No, that's really good. And it's absolutely critical, as you say, that your website, you've spent all this money on making it work. It's meant to be up 24/7 so that it can actually bring in business. And then you're trying to save $5 or $10 on your hosting. It doesn't make sense, does it?
Yeah.
Let's go into another aspect of support, and that is actually just being able to update your website. I understand that under the EXCITECARE program, we actually will do some minor work in a monthly basis. What kind of things can we get Excite Media team support to do under their EXCITECARE plan?
Yeah, so our Security Plus plan includes, I think, half an hour of work a month, and it's really just there so that when you think about a website, you want everything to look right. And WordPress, you can maybe set up 90% of the content in a way that it's in a widget that clients can just access and change. But there is that 10% that you want to have look a certain way, so we have to custom develop it with code. Now that's the sort of stuff that you need us to change, and that's really what that time's there for. It's for stuff that you can't do yourself. We can't run you through yourself. So like, changing a banner, how a banner functions, or even just updating images and content that are locked in a slider that you can't quite get access to. But we really appreciate people reaching out, wanting to do it themselves. And 90% of the time we can coach them through it. But it is really that 10% that we want to take care of and not have to quote you to make a simple change that's just, not doable yourself.
Well, I've got to say, Mikey, you and the support team, you get a lot of accolades at Excite Media from our customers. They love the work that you do. We're regularly getting compliments coming in that it was Mikey or one of the members of the support team that saved the day. So there's certainly an element of truth when we talk about being that hero from hackers. So just know that when you're working with Excite Media, you've got a great team of people. I want to talk about something that we're going to talk about at the beginning and we didn't. You've been working with Excite Media for a long time, and what are some of the things that you enjoy about working with the team?
I've worked a few different IT places prior to this, based in IT beforehand. Coming here was just completely eye-opening. The culture is amazing. I really never even think about work as work. It's just another day that I'm getting up and doing something, and it's just an activity that I go through. It's just people here really make it a great place to work.
And you did something fairly dramatic in that we've got flexible hours in terms of working 4-day work weeks, but you decided to take almost a year off and head off to Grand Paris. Tell me about that overseas trip and how you were able to make Excite Media and your dream work.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to go and live in France for just under a year. I think it was about 11 months back in 2018, before obviously all the travel restrictions. And I talked to the team. I've actually only been at work at Excite Media for about a year at that point. And I talked to the team and said, look, this is something I really want to do. I'm happy to keep working and make it work any way that we can. And I think I ended up doing about 20 hours a week, living in Montpellier in the south of France with my partner. And it was actually, I think, a really good way to become self-reliant on yourself working. In a different time zone, I would get up at 6 a.m. so I could talk to people at 3 p.m. in Brisbane. and at that point, they would be like, okay, this is what's happened today. Can you get on this and this and this? And I just have to work through it. I really treasure that whole experience. And I'm so grateful that I was able to do that.
It was quite amazing, and it was obviously good to be able to follow your journey and see some of the photos and things. And you took a little bit further and got to take in a bit of Europe and the US.
Yeah, so I actually kicked off the trip with a trip through the States with my dad for his 60th birthday. We did about a month road trip from the west coast to the east coast before flying to Paris, meeting up with my girlfriend there. and that's when we kicked off our year there, and then actually came back through the UK and the States on the way home, because why not? You want to go both directions.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And I hear your partner Zoe's now going into e-commerce, and this has mean that you're running support on the side as well. Tell us about how that's been taking off.
Yeah, when I take off my Excite Media cap, I come home and put on the Etsy cap, because she's done amazing with what she's just been doing this pen and paper ink artwork for ages, and I've always told her it's phenomenal, but she just expects that from me. But yeah, she started selling some cards this Christmas, and she's doing really great, and couldn't be prouder of her.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, mate, it's been really absolutely brilliant to have you on the show this morning. And just for everybody in terms of support with Excite Media and our holidays, yes, do make sure that you go to the Excite Media website. You can find out all the details. We've got our banner up for a Merry Christmas from the Excite Media team. If you click on the red banner, you'll end up going through to our latest staff photo, get to meet the team, find out exactly what's happening over our holiday period in terms of all the different departments, and you'll make sure that the online support form is linked there for you to find out more. So brilliant. Thank you very much, Mikey. Look forward to hearing all the good news of you saving the day again, and we'll get you on the show again next year.
Thanks for having me.
So there you go. You got to meet another member of the Excite Media team, and a very dependable one as well. Look forward to being able to catch up with you on another edition of The Morning Kick. We've got a few more members of the team coming up as we go towards Christmas.